You now are listening to the audio podcast of Prisoners of Hope, the antidote to what ails your heart. I'm your host, Dr. Deborah Whitson. So come on in, pull up a chair, and open up your mind as you get ready to receive the download that hope will bring. Well, hey, welcome to the Prisoners of Hope podcast. If you want to be a prisoner, you want to be a prisoner of hope. And today I have a special guest, my little brother, Vinny, or Vince, I call him Vince Johnson. And if you listen to my podcast, he's the creator of the music and the words and the melody, and he's just so talented, and I am so glad to have him on the air with me. Wow, it is definitely a treat. Vinny and I, we do a lot of talking, and a lot of my podcast ideas come from our conversation. I'm like, wait, I gotta write that down.
Yeah.
And we were talking the other day, and for some reason, I can't even remember. Can you remember, Vince? I said, "This is the way."
Oh, yes. Yes.
Do you
This
do,
is
do you
the
remember
way.
how they? This is the way.
Yeah.
And for those of you like Star Wars and Mandalorian, you know, he always says, "This is the way." So we talked it over, and we decided to do an episode entitled "This is the Way."
Right.
And say hi, Vince. Say hi to everybody.
Well, hello. And first of all, thank you, Dr. Deborah, for having me on here again. This is my second time. I'm very excited to talk to you about so many things. We have so many topics that we cross. So,
Yes, we do.
and this is the way.
Now, if we start talking about doctor, I'll have to say Dr. Johnson, Dr.
Yeah, I know.
Deborah. So why don't you just be Vince and I'll be Deborah? How about that?
Okay, I'd like that. I like that. That's good.
I like that. That just kind of is like foreign. What? Well, what? Because we're on that level with each other.
We are.
You know, and this is the way. I mentioned it to Chris. You know how Chris is, and he said he instantly went to, yeah, the Bible tells you everything that you need. Every situation. He just went to that. And I was just standing there going, wow. For those who don't know, Chris is my younger son, okay? And he's he believes in God, but he's mad. How about that? Okay. He's a little angry with God. He was the one that was shot point blank when we moved here when he was 16 years old by a cop's kid playing with his daddy's gun. So, you know, that story on Lifetime TV that you turn away from because it is boring and no one will believe it.
Right.
Anyway. So, but he said, you know, it was amazing that he said this. He just dropped that bomb. He said, you know, every situation is listed in the Bible, and more people are going to find that out as time goes on. Now, very interesting. I heard a statistic, and I actually looked it up, and I looked at it up on DuckDuckGo instead of Google.
Which is smart. That's wise. I use DuckDuckGo as well.
I use both because I'm paranoid. So I want to see what Google's leaving out. You know what I mean? So I actually use both. So I didn't have the time, so I just went to DuckDuckGo, and DuckDuckGo said that compared to October of last year, I guess they measure from October to October, that the amount of Bible purchases is up 22%. The amount of other book purchases is up 1%. But you know what? I think I've told you before, Vince. I said, you know, I have a need to tell people that you need to not only have digital copies, you need the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
we need the physical copies as well.
Yeah, we talked about this, and evidently this is a stream that the Holy Spirit has told other people because people are buying books and magazines again. They're interested. There's a resurgence. But what's so interesting is the difference in the statistic. This is the way. 22% increase in Bible sales.
That's right.
That is amazing.
It is. I find that fascinating, but also almost expected because of an awakening not only in our country, but there's an awakening going on all over the world. And there's woke versus an awakening, and we can get into that. But
Mhm.
people are searching for a level of spirituality to help them make sense of all the chaos.
That's right.
And
That's
at
right.
some point, we have to make sense of all the chaos, at least our brains,
Mhm.
for us to
Mhm.
survive at a mental and emotional level. We've got to be able to do that at some point. And just to sit down in silence or to read, or you've got people doing yoga and all
Right.
a bunch of different practices. Some I agree with, some I don't agree with, but the search is still valid.
You're right. Everybody's searching. It seems like in chaos, that's when you need a stabilizer.
That's right.
And this is the way you look for a stabilizer, like a ballerina,
That's
the
right.
way they spin. I used to do the balance beam,
Hmm.
and you have to spot a place, in the
That's right.
bleachers or wherever, and you must keep your eyes on that, even though your physical eyes are not on it. Now, isn't that
That's
deep?
right. That's right.
Because if you're spinning, that means your physical eyes are not on it.
That's right.
So there is something in the non-physical world that can guide us and keep us stable.
Hmm.
And that's what ballerinas do. They keep their eye on the spot. Because if you go round and round, you're going to get dizzy and everything's going to spin and you are going to fall. So in chaos, we tend to seek something that is consistent, a foundation. And I think that's what you're seeing in the world today.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I have lived long enough. No, I'm not going to tell you my age, but I have lived long enough to know that it seems like God shows out when you're at the end of your rope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know why we have to get to the end, why we can't listen before we get to the end, but I guess it's like how you train a dog. You have to have a more motivated dog. Pavlov knew that. You had to have a hungry dog. And
Well, yeah,
so we,
and when you think about it from that perspective, right? In training animals, one of the things I've learned, I used to train Belgian Malinois, and one of the things I've learned with Malinois, you have to get them to a point where they're a little bit exhausted, right? Because that's when they actually perk up and listen. Otherwise, they have too much testosterone running through them, and they just want to play. So you got to let them get that out. It's like a kid,
Mhm.
right? You got to let them go out to recess, and when they come back from recess, and they can actually sit down and begin to focus, right?
Well, that's why I disagree with them because a lot of the schools I know in California removed the recesses. What
Yeah,
the?
yeah,
Are you insane? Are you insane? Where's that energy to go?
yeah. Well, that goes
You,
right
you,
along with the fluoride in our water that kind of increases
yeah.
estrogen
Hmm.
in our boys. But well, that's a whole nother talk, right?
Yeah, the JFK is going to get on that. That's the first thing.
Yeah, right,
Fluoride in water is not supposed to. We're not supposed to digest this every day. I
right,
mean,
right,
it's perhaps good to clean your teeth, but you're not supposed to be drinking it every day. It's a different.
right.
It becomes different when it mixed with your inner gut. So
Mhm.
it's
That's
and
correct.
it
That's
and
correct.
it's not good. But I have found that because I'm a hiker, I like to go out and hike. I used to be a marathon runner, but can't do that anymore. I hike, and it is amazing to get in nature and to see how nature replenishes itself and how nature is self-fulfilling and how nature
Right,
goes on and how beautiful and delicate it is.
right.
It's a it's absolutely amazing. I met this guy who was, and I think I told you, he had just got out of jail. I was I was hiking in a
Right.
town called Castle Rock, and for some reason he told me that, and I was on a rural trail, but I wasn't afraid of him. It was
Yeah,
hard to, I guess it was the spirit. And he told me that, and
that's
he
right.
said, well, well, should I? should I tell the apartment complex that I was in jail? Because they asked about that, and my wife. It was some kind of white collar crime, and the court was good enough not to make their sentence the same time.
Mm.
They made it consecutive because they had two kids. So
Oh, wow.
he asked me, well, what should I do? What should I tell him the truth? And I said, well, the truth is something that you never have to really be ashamed of.
Right.
And he looked at me and he goes, I never thought of it that way. I said, yeah, you don't have to worry. If the person doesn't want you, they want rent to you, just tell them the truth. And so he was able to rent that apartment. And I remember him saying, he's from California. And he was like, oh my God, everything is dead. Is it going to come back? Is it going to? And I assured him it will come back because we were hiking there in the winter. And
Right.
he was concerned. I said, like, God replenishes the earth. And he looked at me and he goes, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in that. And I said, well, he believes in you.
Right. Right.
Your belief is not a prereq to the truth.
That's right. Amen.
Okay. I'll say that slowly for some people who have what you call delayed brain. Now, I'm not saying lame brain, I'm saying delayed.
Right.
Your belief is not a prereq. A prereq is something in college that we are in any school that you have to take a class before you get to a certain class. That's a
Right.
prereq.
That's right.
It is not a prereq for the truth. In the physical world, and that's how I was kind of interrupting my train of thought, but I'm back to it. In the physical world, it gives you indication of God's glory. I mean, it gives you that there is some spiritual truth out there. If you just look into the beauty of the physical world, the beauty of a sunset. I live right under Pikes Peak, and it is so gorgeous. Even for people from Colorado who've
Oh,
lived
yeah.
up north,
Yeah.
they come down here and they go, "Oh my God!" Well,
Yeah.
Vince, you were here for Thanksgiving. You were like,
Yeah.
"Oh
I was
God,
there on
it's so
Thanksgiving. And by the way, thank you for that Thanksgiving dinner. That was just absolutely amazing. I ate on my leftovers for about a week. I was just a little upset that I didn't get any more, right?
hey,
I should have brought my own
hey,
doggy
hey!"
back.
I kept on trying to give you more, but you, oh no, 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 no.
I think Ed was hiding he was hiding the ham away. He was tucking it to the side.
No, there's a lot of him because
Oh God.
okay, because Ed is my husband. For those people who don't know who listen to the first time, he has blood pressure problems.
Right.
So I tell him, okay, you could scarf down Thanksgiving, but it's the egg and ham omelet the next day,
Right.
the
Right.
ham
Well,
sandwich.
I'm not gonna tell on him just in case he hears this. I'm not gonna tell on him, but he had his eye on it. I saw it. So,
Yeah, but I'll if I have to throw it away because I want him to live, because
mhm.
blood pressure will, ham is cured in salt. And even though
Right.
my mother, and I'm going to say this real funny, a lot of kosher people are going to go, oh my God, are you crazy? Well, my mother was part Jew, and my father is black. And so I try to kosher him. Because kosher, you soak in various whatever. If you're wealthy, you soak it in
I've
the
gotta
eye
use that
and
word. I've got some Jewish heritage in me too, so I've gotta use that.
my Jewish friend says, you are so confused. I
I
said,
don't know if you combine
and
kosher and ham together. Is that sham? I don't know. Is that
I don't know. But I'll soak it. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like you brine a turkey. Brine my ham. And brine, really, if you look at it, if you really look into the history of it, it's come from the Jewish people who purified their meat before they ate it. And only certain meats were okay to eat. And you would soak, and a lot of people go, oh, you soak your turkey, and then what do you do with the stuff? You cook it in, that's good. So I said, no, no. In Jewish briming, you soak it and then you pour it off.
Right.
You see what I mean? It's not it's not a tenderizer or what am I looking for the word where you
Right.
soak
You
something.
don't cook it in the brine.
No,
Right.
no.
Right.
A lot of people don't understand that. No.
Right.
That's why I said if you're real rich, you'll do it in whiskey because you gotta throw all that good whiskey away.
Yeah. Well, and coming out to your house for Thanksgiving, I remember I actually pulled over to the side of of the road just for a quick minute and took a look at the mountain. You know, I'm from Colorado, born and raised, and seeing that mountain from the distance, it was so majestic and inspirational for me. Definitely inspirational. And so when I got to the house, I just had all those smells. I was overloaded with the smells in the house, so my attention went to the kitchen. So
Oh, Thanksgiving. Well, I hope that all of you guys had a real blessed Thanksgiving. The original time we recorded this is the week after Thanksgiving. So that's what we're talking about,
yeah,
Thanksgiving. But you can listen to This Is the Way anytime because it's always true. Well, I hope you enjoyed being a bug on the wall, listening to Vince and I talk about This Is the Way. It only gets more interesting from here. So stay tuned for part 2. God bless. My hope is that this journey has been fruitful and you're able to take it and apply it to your life. Until next time, tune in again for the Prisoners of Hope podcast. God bless.